everyone, my name is Annette from Aussie Reborn Supplies, and you may have seen my last video where I was doing some painted hair on baby Drew Ann. Well, this video we're going to be working on giving her a little bit of a combo hair look. Now, our combo hair look is where we give them not only the painted hair, but we give them a little bit of implanted hair as well. So I'll just show you what I mean. So I've got little Drew Ann's head off here, and with the combo hair, or Combi hair, a lot of people call it, is where we just do a little bit of hair, and it's normally just on the top there, just in this sort of section here. And that's all we sort of do, just doing that, and it gives a visualization, say from a distance, that that baby has hair all over it, because you can see all these hairs and they don't notice that they are painted because they see these like little swifty hairs up the top, nice soft hairs, and they think that the whole thing is painted. So it's kind of a bit of a visual effect, just giving that baby to look like it has hair all over. So we're going to go to our implanting table now. As I always say, you don't need to see me for the whole video. So we're going to be looking down on baby Drew Ann's hair, and I'll show you how I do my combi hair. Let's go. Okay, welcome to my painting table. Now we've got a few things to do before we can actually begin. And one of the first things we need to do is work out what color hair will suit our baby, and that will always depend on what color hair we've actually painted it with so far. So this baby looks like it's got some more darker brown tones on the top, so I'll probably stick with something like that. So we get our hair and we need to separate it so it's pretty fine. Don't take it apart, because in case you don't use it. And then we sort of need to put it on top and see if it looks like it will somewhat blend, and that looks like it pretty much will there. So I'm thinking that one, but I will have a look at this lighter blonde color, because we do have some blonde colors under there. I've got this bit of light blonde here. It's probably going to be a toss-up, really. Yeah, I'm not really seeing that. See how that just sort of looks a little bit too golden, a little bit too yellowy compared to the undertones. I guess if it was really done finely, it might work, but I'm thinking that is not my hair for today, and it will be this one here. I'm not going to do it that thick, of course. It's going to be quite fine, very much like that, but that's how we choose our hair. Now that happens with any baby you're making. Even if you're making a baby that doesn't have any hair on it at all, you're best to get some hair up against its complexion, because you might think, oh, I really want a blonde baby, but then when you get to actually implanting it, it looks ridiculous. So it is really good to go by the complexion. Now baby Drew Ann was already put together, and I did have some stuffing in her head and her weight, so I've had to take that all out. There's her magnet for her dummy. I've had to take that all out, and I was really careful to get as much of the stuffing out that I could. There was a bit of glue behind the eyelashes there that had held a little bit of stuffing on, but I just need to keep an eye on that. It generally doesn't, well, I've never heard of it catching fire, but you would have to be really careful. So now I'll put my lamp in. Now, not everyone uses the hair implanting lamps, but I can't, you know, talk about them enough how great they are. At the moment, we're on a cold morning right now. Let me see what degrees we are on. Don't look at my weight just then. It's saying we're 9 degrees at the moment. Oh, actually, we're 17 degrees. But it's quite cool in this room where I am at the moment, and so the head is cold and it's hard. It's not really even that pliable because it's just so cold. So we put the lamp on, and that will warm the head up ready for implanting. So I'll put that aside for the moment, and I guess we'll talk about our tools. I always have a toothbrush with me, a soft baby toothbrush. The soft bristles are really, really good when you're implanting. I've got a baby I'm working on here. It just means you're not like if I've got my big brush, for instance, it's got a big layer on the bottom, and it's just not, it's not as controlled. You want it to be really controlled so you can just work on small areas. I even use my little toothbrushes when I'm brushing my baby's hair, but it just sort of, you keep it all together. I've got some baby spray. This one is actually Perfectly Peach. I normally use baby style, but I thought this time I'd use Perfectly Peach. Now, Perfectly Peach is very much like baby style, but it's just got a bit of a peach tone scent to it. And so then when I'm spraying my baby's hair and combing it down, it's conditioning it at the same time, keeping it dust free, and also making it really pliable to work with. So I do suggest having a spray conditioner with you at all times as well. So then we've got what needle we're working with. I'm probably going to work with I've got a couple of needles here. One's broken, a couple are bent. I don't want to use them. I'll get a nice fresh one, I think. I have one here. Let's have a look. This one looks pretty good. Oh, this one here is a 3-barb. 42 gauge 3-barb. So I'll start with that. It should be pretty good for what I don't need to do anything specific with it, specialized. I really always talk about, when you're talking about needles, anyone can do fine, ultra fine implanted hair with any kind of needle. I can do micro rooting with a needle that has 9 barbs, and that's because I'm in control of what I'm doing, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So I've got my needle now. I don't know why I've got a blending brush here, but it can stay beside me. Scissors are really good for cutting my hair and then the hair itself. And before we get started, you might have heard me talk about this a number of times, but I'm going to say it again for anyone who hasn't been here before. You need to implant your hair on a special direction, and that is, I will talk about now. I'm going to get my little notebook. Okay, so for those who haven't really worked with hair before or don't know much about it, this will be something new for you. If you know all about the hair shaft and everything, then you can speed through and you should get through to it. Anyway, you've got a piece of hair, right? Let's say this is our piece of hair. It's just like our own hair. It's kind of like split ends. We've got little barbs on our hair all the way up that we kind of really don't even really know. So you can think of it like a split end. Okay, so I'll get my hair here and show you. If I run, and you can get your own hair and give it a go. If I run my fingers down like this, there's a little bit of resistance, but pretty much it flows through. Okay, that means that this would have been the top of the baby's hair. Now, don't always just assume because that looks like that's where it's been cut. Don't assume that that's the right way. It probably is, but don't always assume it. Okay, now if I get my hair, and let's say I push my fingers up this way, I'm not joking, I can't really push my hands up. If I do, I'll be separating all the hair and making a mess. That's because of these little barbs, okay? So there's tiny, tiny, tiny little barbs out of the hair resisting my fingers from going up, okay? Now, if you could imagine when we're implanting the baby's hair, okay, I should show you from a different angle. Let's say this is the baby's head, okay, and we implant the hair. There's the hair, okay. If we implant it from the direction coming out from the scalp or wherever of the mohair, the alpaca, wherever it's come from, if we do that, the hairs will go like this, meaning it will also be going like this inside the head. Okay, so then when we go to pull that hair, pull, there'll be resistance. Yes, it can pull through. It definitely can pull through, but there'll be some resistance, giving it that secure inside that it's going to be harder to come out as we're moving forward with our hair. Yes, we will still be gluing it inside the head, okay? But this will give that extra guarantee that our hair is going to stay in place. Now, as you can imagine, everyone's different. Some people actually start implanting with the whole hair. I think that's a waste because you'll cut that hair away and most people will either throw it away or it'll get tangled. So I cut as I'm going. So I'll be cutting, where's my little scissors? Down at the bottom there. I cut about 1 inch. This because it's the bottom of the hair might be a little bit longer, but generally I cut at 1 inch, and that's what I work with. Okay, so I will be implanting with that part there. Now, as you can see, we've got 2 cut ends here, so when we're moving forward, it might be a bit challenging to know which angle we're going from. So that's why you'll either put a little ribbon up there so you know that this is the top of the hair, or some kind of clip or something, or just put it gently aside on a shelf and then do the feel technique to work out which way the barbs of the hair is going. So hopefully that has been a diagram that you can understand. Sometimes it gets a little bit confusing. Now I normally put my hair in a bit of Velcro. Just a bit of Velcro around that will hold it in place, and you'll also always know where the top of your hair is if you put it in the right place. But I'm out of Velcro at the moment. I keep forgetting to buy it. It's ridiculous. So I'll just hold it, and you can pretend that my thumb and my finger are Velcro. And we will move on from there. Okay, I'll let this head just warm up a little bit more, and then I'll be back. Okay guys, well hopefully I'm giving you a good enough view of the head there so you can see everything you need to. Now when we get to this, sorry, I just got a message on my phone, so I keep getting distracted. When you get to this, a lot of people would say, oh, well, I need to do mapping and things like that before I implant. But as you can see, you don't need to do any mapping because you could follow some lines here. So with the Combi hair, we don't do a lot. It's sort of a bit of a less is more, and we're only sort of doing a little sort of strip just on the top here, which will just make that visual effect when people are looking at that baby from a distance. Sorry if I knock the camera too much. So I'm just going to make sure my needle is fairly clean first up. You can just do that obviously by going in your pillow or a cloth or something close by, because sometimes if you're using a new needle, it'll have some protective oils on it, which you need to get off before you're going to start the implanting. Now, baby feels pretty warm, could go a little bit warmer, but I'm a little bit impatient. Okay, so when you're wanting to do some really fine hair, you need to work with all of these little hairs that are poking out here. If you were to go through this part of the hair, you're definitely going to be pulling in a lot of hair, and it will make the whole thing pluggy and terrible. You don't want to do that. You want to work with these little fine hairs that sort of come out the end. And if there's no fine hairs that come out the end, just sort of pinch some there and pull them out. Okay, so we just need to run our needle across one hair, sort of like pulling it down and getting it in. My needle is a little bit bent, so it might not work with me well, but we can see we've got 1 or 2 hairs in just there. And that's all we want to do. Getting those few hairs in at a time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put you on hyperlapse. Most of you know how to implant. You're just sort of looking at where I'm going with the Combi hair. So when I'm implanting, I've just showed you how I do it. I just run my needle, across a hair there, and it'll pull it in. Remember not to put your needle up like that. We're not looking for a punk rocker with a spike haircut. We're wanting the hair to run and lay flat against the scalp. So when we do that, that means our needle has to be in that sort of direction. Okay, so hyperlapse we come. Okay, so let's see how that looks. We can add more in or whatever we want. I just wanted that sort of like strip like in the middle, as you can see. I'm going to spray that down so we can get a better look. Okay, and we'll have a look with the light off. Now obviously it's wet at the moment, so I mean, you might even want to see how I've got this line here. You might even want to sort of keep going around and, you know, make it bigger like that. I'm going to see how that looks. I'm just going to give this a little bit of trim there. See how that looks once it's dried. I'll just take the lamp out so I can try to get a better view of it. Let's have a little look here. Get a bit of water off it. Some really long hair there. So I could keep the length like that if I wanted, or I could trim it, and if I'm trimming it, I just literally sort of trim it on that angle. All those hairs will fall down in a layered effect. For me, I'm pretty much thinking that that's enough. Let's give that a little bit there, a little bit more of a trim. Now we'll be doing a video in future of hair cutting as well, but you can see how those hairs would be layered if they lay down. They sort of layer on top of each other so they don't look like they've been trimmed as such. Now you can just comb that hair over your finger and then sort of roll your finger out, and that'll give a light curled effect. And the front one could even be combed and brushed like that. So this is how I'm going to leave it, I believe. You can do more if you like. Like I said, you could even do, you know, just a couple of hairs here and there, but generally people just stick to the top of the head. I'm going to glue that hair in place. You can see it all in there, and then add it back onto Reborn, and so we can see the finished product. Okay, so how did you think you went? I'm really quite happy with my little Miss Reborn. She's sleeping at the moment, so shh. But she's wearing her Aussie Reborn Supplies onesie. She's a good baby. But I think overall, I really like how it turned out. See how it's not really hugely obvious? I mean, I don't know how you step, but from a distance, you know, not hugely obvious, especially from this side actually. This side a bit different, but especially from this side. And I left a little bit sticking up so it looks a little bit, you know, how do you do? How do you do, little Miss Reborn? So, you know, it's a girl, obviously, although she looks like a boy with her Aussie Reborn Supplies thing on. So I'll just put like a headband on, and the headband is just like literally going to finish it off, giving it, oh, hang on, which side do I like it on? Gotta have it on a certain side. I think that's really quite cute. Oh, she's got an eyelash there. I think that's just a really nice way to finish off the painted hair if you don't necessarily want to go about and do the full baby as such. Let's give it a little bit of a turn around so you can see. And Miss Reborn can hold her little teddy like that. And she can have her little honeybug dummy as well, just to finish off the whole ensemble. I think she's perfect. Absolutely perfect. So if you have any questions about this video, don't forget to ask me just in the comments below. You guys know by now I also have a Spotify podcast, which touches on many issues in the reborning community, as well as, you know, parts of our artistry. And we also do online Zoom classes. So if you have been dying to make your very own baby Drouin, or something similar, of course, you can just get in contact with me and we can discuss times and schedules and see if it works with you. But I think Drouin here is on a winner. I think it's absolutely the most perfect way to finish off painted hair. And I hope that you guys... Whoop, oh, just turn around. She's so sleepy. I don't want to wake her. I hope you guys feel the same as I do. I think she's just really, really lovely. And I really am getting very used to the whole way she carries herself with her crunched up legs. It's different, that is for sure, but it's very, very sweet. Ooh, show your logo, Miss Drouin. All right. Well, thank you again for watching another episode of something we're showing about our artistry. If you have anything you really want me to do a video on, even if I've done it before, maybe you want an updated version, just reach out and I'll do it again for you. I'm going to be working on many more videos in the near future. Thanks guys, I'll see you next time, and happy reborning. Bye.